Hello everyone and welcome to this video going over the new dev update that was just released today, telling us a ton of things about the upcoming mid-chapter patch. So let's take a look. Alright, so in this developer update, they are doing the chapter 16 review. Because as they said before, they like to reevaluate killers they release a few months after their release to see how they're doing, make sure they're not too OP, stuff like that. So basically what they say here, we feel that it is important to see how new content plays out in a real scenario before committing to balance changes. Something that seems overpowered upon release can end up being a non-issue once people have a chance to play against it and develop counterplay. Likewise, something that might seem underpowered might find a niche once people have the time to experiment with builds and playstyles. Blah blah blah, blah 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 blah. So, anyways, what we really care about, the executioner changes. So first, they are increasing the delay after canceling Rights of Judgment before Pyramid Head can attack. And they say the reason for this is to make a downside to canceling his power at pallets or windows. Because at the moment, Pyramid Heads just can pretend to use their power. If the survivor doesn't throw the pallet, then they can hit them right away. If they do throw the pallet, then they just use their Rights of Judgment. And there's no win-win scenario for the survivor here. And there's no way that the survivor can possibly win this scenario without taking a hit. So I do agree with this change, because, you know, Pyramid Head can just fake his power anytime he wants, and he has no repercussions from it. He can use his power or he can M1 you, and there's nothing you can do about it as survivor. So they're increasing the delay before you can do a basic attack after canceling Rights of Judgment to give the survivor a small window to avoid an attack, similar to the Huntress or Demogorgon. The second change they are doing is decreasing the delay after attacking with Punishment of the Damned. So basically this is the delay between using Punishment of the Damned and when you can use a basic attack again. They have said missing an attack with Punishment of the Damned can feel very punishing. Oh, the irony! The cooldown after attacking is fairly long, which gives the survivor a lot of time to gain distance. By lowering the cooldown, you'll be able to use your power more liberally without having it backfire as hard if you miss. The goal of these changes is to move Pyramid Head's gameplay in a more skill-based direction, which rewards aiming your attacks well rather than canceling your power or using it only in situations where you're guaranteed a hit. We are not aiming to make the Executioner stronger or weaker overall, but rather to address some of the frustrations on both sides. This second change, I think, we don't know how good or bad it will be until we see it in-game, but just on paper, it just seems like counterproductive of the first change. Because the first change is good, you know, gives survivors more distance. The second change, well, shouldn't you be punished for missing an attack? I mean, I don't know. If you commit to an attack, you better be sure that you can hit that survivor. And I think this second change just lowers the skill level of Pyramid Head, because now you can use your attacks willy-nilly without thought or care, and you don't get punished for it. At least that's what they're saying they want. And this promotes less skill-based gameplay, not more skill-based gameplay. But again, we won't know for sure until we see it in action. However, I think the change is unnecessary, because Pyramid Head is already a really good killer, and this would just make his attack better. Because if there's a delay after canceling, but not as much of a delay after using your power, then you could just use your power to get the shorter delay, you know? Next, we have a ton of perk changes, which is exciting to see because they haven't really done a massive perk overhaul in a while. First up, of course, are the perks unique to the Pyramid Head chapter, or Silent Hill chapter. We have Trail of Torment. They now say that the undetectable status effect will remain active until the marked generator stops regressing, or until a survivor is put into the dying state by any means. This is an interesting change because now, when survivors see that yellow generator, they know the killer has undetectable permanently until somebody can tap that generator or the killer downs somebody. I think this is a good change because really it wasn't useful at all really before, because you saw the gen turn yellow and you're like, oh, I'll just stay away from that area for X amount of time and I'll be okay. This will make killers more sneaky, and you'll have to look out for them a lot more if they are using this perk. And it has more potential in sneaky builds, I think. Now we have Forced Penance. Now Forced Penance, they said, has some interesting applications, but the duration was a little too low to get much use of the broken effect, which was true. So they are increasing the duration of broken by 20 seconds across all tiers. Will this make it more widely used? Who knows, but that is a long broken effect. After that we got Blood Pact, which says the haste effect is nice to have but did not last long enough to see much use. So they're completely scrapping the duration of the haste status effect and instead making haste last indefinitely until the two survivors are no longer within 16 meters of one another. This is another interesting change that kind of goes with their Trail of Torment change, because they're removing the timer completely, and now you just keep it as long as you're within 16 meters. Now, 16 meters is not a ton of space, but it is enough to stay within range of each other and just travel the map together, do gens, and if the killer chases one person, the other person hides. So this could have good use in Survive with Friends for having a nice little speed boost. Now we have our miscellaneous perk changes. Any Means Necessary, one of Yui's perks, says they are reducing the cooldown to 60 seconds and added a score event for resetting a pallet, so you can get some nice blood points on that. They said that they erred on the side of caution when releasing Any Means Necessary, and they were, basically scared that resetting pallets would be too OP, so they made the cooldown super long. But upon review, they are comfortable with making the cooldown 60 seconds. Next we have Cruel Limits. They have increased the radius to 32 meters. This is another one they were thinking would be too strong, but turned out to be a non-issue, so they're increasing the range to 32 meters, basically making it so anytime a survivor is downed, all gens within the killer's terror radius will be broken. Excluding, of course, the killers with smaller terror radiuses, then generators outside their terror radius will break as well. But will that make it any more useful? Who knows. Next we have Zarina's unique perk for the people. Also, Cruel Limits is a Demogorgon perk. I forgot to say that. They added a score event for using for the people, so you get blood points. Not really sure why we need more score events for survivors. Why don't we get some score events for killers, huh? Anyways, next we have Mindbreaker, another Demogorgon perk. They increased the duration of the Exhausted effect because, it was too short, as we all know. So they increased the duration by a few seconds across the board. It's interesting that they didn't tell us an exact value, where they told us exact values for the previous perks. So I'm guessing the reason for this is because they haven't set anything in stone yet, so we won't know until the PTB, but a few seconds could just mean it will be a 5-second exhausted instead of 3, possibly even 8 seconds at tier 3, but I highly doubt it will be 10 seconds long. However, we will not know for sure until the public test build comes out. After that, we got Slippery Meat, which they have removed the increased chance to escape a bear trap from entirely. So they said Slippery Meat found its way into some unique builds, but it is one of the few perks that affects one killer more than the others, but no one ever used it for that anyway. This is something we've moved away from recently, so we will be removing increased bear trap escape chance from this perk. However, to keep that unique build playstyle it has, they added self-unhook. So now it gives you more self-hook attempts and a better chance to self-unhook. Now we will not know how much it increases the chances of self-unhooking until the PTB, because it could be very minor, where even if with all those extra attempts, you do not get off the hook, or it could be better, where you are guaranteed an unhook through all those chances, at least most of the time. With this change, Slippery Meat could replace Deliverance, because why run Deliverance when you get broken and have to perform a save if you can run Slippery Meat, which gives you more chances and also an increased chance of unhook. Not only that, but if you run Slippery Meat with Up the Ante, then you could practically guarantee yourself an unhook. However, it would cost 2 perk slots, so the choice is up to you. Next we have Thanatophobia, one of Nurse's perks that we have seen a ton of use of. They are removing the healing speed penalty here, and then increasing the penalty on other actions. So basically, only generator repair. I mean, the only time you sabotage really is for the archive, and then I guess searching chests would be inconvenient. But the big one here is Thanatophobia will decrease survivor action speeds on generators a lot more now. However, removing the healing speed penalty means that survivors can heal faster. So there's no way to slow down survivor healing anymore except with Sloppy Butcher and Calorophobia. Let me know what you guys think of this change. Is it good or bad? I mean, Thanatophobia was kind of annoying when it was stacked with other perks in the past, but I think over time, as they have adjusted things like Hexarune and stuff, that Thanatophobia has become less of an issue. Also, there's a lot more perks now that increase survivor healing speeds. So, I think Thanatophobia is and always will be annoying, but it's just an annoyance. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Next, We're Gonna Live Forever is actually getting a good change. They added new ways to get tokens. How do you get these tokens? We don't know. They don't say. They just say there's new ways to get tokens. But the more interesting part is there's a healing speed bonus when healing a dying survivor. So, We're Gonna Live Forever is often seen as the survivor equivalent to barbecue and chili, but lacking a secondary effect. It also creates a lot of competition for survivors because they have to compete for unhooks, leading to people rushing hook saves before it's safe. I know I'm not reading this word for word, I'm just putting in my own spin, okay? Chill out. Moving on, by adding additional ways to get tokens, we'll reduce competition between survivors, and then the secondary effect gives the perk more use within the trial and not just a flat blood point perk. So what do you guys think of this? This means if you stack We're Gonna Live Forever with like Body Knowledge or some other healing perk, then you're gonna heal crazy fast and you'll get those dying survivors up quicker. It's kind of disappointing to me that they're putting in so many ways for survivors to counter slugging, but they're not putting in any ways for killers to keep slugging. And it just gives survivors more crutches and second chances that they do not need. So I would really like to see a killer perk that rewards them for slugging, because in my opinion, a majority of the time, slugging only happens because the survivors mess up. It's because the survivors group up into one area and let the killer down them instead of spreading out, and slugging only ever happens because the survivors make it so. It's the survivor's fault that slugging happens. And by giving survivors so much leeway, by allowing them to recover from such a terrible mistake so easily, it just makes survivors stay bad because they think it's okay to keep grouping up because, oh, I got away with it that one time. And so you're promoting this bad gameplay, and you're promoting survivors that are not good at the game and not helping them learn how to counter these strategies, not helping them learn how to get better. You're just letting them stay bad and make them think it's okay to be bad. And then they complain when killers slug because it's such a cheesy strategy, when really it's the survivor's fault that slugging happens. Now I know there are some killers that just straight up slug no matter what, and that is a different kind of situation, but a majority of the time, killers slug because survivors group up. And it's a survivor mistake that the killer should not be punished for playing smartly. Anyways, let's move on here. We have Technician, which they have increased the chance to prevent an explosion to 100%, and added an increased penalty to miss skill checks. This is a good change, because I thought the RNG of Technician is what hurt it the most, and also it didn't really make sense. Like, why would you have this perk that prevents a skill check explosion, but only like a percentage chance of the time? So having it 100% makes it better for new players who are learning how to hit skill checks, and doesn't really impact gameplay that much because good survivors always hit skill checks, so you don't really see gens exploding all the time unless you have like overcharge. And then having an increased penalty to miss skill checks is a good way to counter the effect of not notifying the killer when the generator explodes. Now, we do not know how severe the increased penalty is. Like, if the increased penalty is 25% of generator progress or something crazy, then Technician may still not be worth running for noob survivors, because it will just take them forever to do the generator. The final perk we have is Pop Goes the Weasel, of course. The only thing they did was decrease the time the perk stays activated to 45 seconds at tier 3. And they explain their thinking here. So originally Pop Goes the Weasel had a 30-second cooldown, but it was much too short to get use of. So they increased it to 60 seconds, but then it wound up being too powerful because killers had a lot of time to find and kick a generator, and there was just too much time. So to add some urgency back into the perk, they are splitting the difference and changing the time to 45 seconds at tier 3. So that way you will have enough time to get to the generator you want to kick, but you cannot commit to a chase with another survivor. We'll see how it plays out. I think 45 or 50 seconds would be a good timer for Pop Goes the Weasel, but we won't really know until we play it out in games. Next we have some perk rarity simplification. So keeping with the theme of perks, there's a small but noteworthy change. Currently, tier 3 perks can be rare or very rare, and this can make it difficult to find perks you're looking for, since perks are sorted not just alphabetically, but also divided across 2 different rarities. So going forward, perk rarity will match the tier of the perk uncommon, rare, or very rare. So it looks like they're scrapping the common tier of perks. It sounded like they were going to get rid of very rare from that last sentence, but scrapping common, it's not going to change anything. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, I know people use, I know a lot of people use those things where they make their perks look different because they want to customize their perks, or they just miss the old perk colors. So it's a good thing that they keep the very rare and rare separated. So I guess that's why they deleted the common perks, because no one uses common colors. Everyone uses new colors for the rare and very rare. So maybe this means that we'll get our pink very rare perks back, huh? We'll see, we'll see. And then after that, we got bum-ba-da-da, graphics update for Macmillan Estate. Oh my gosh, that means Auto Haven Records is probably next. But here we have some amazing art of the Macmillan Estate redos. So this is obviously, the screenshot I'm showing now is obviously the top of, oh my gosh, why am I know the name of this map. Ironworks of Misery. This is the top of Ironworks of Misery. You see all the broken stuff, and you can actually see the control panel a lot better now. However, with this graphics update, maybe Macmillan Estate will be less blue, who knows. Here's a look at the Suffocation Pit, new and improved. Oh, here's a picture of the bottom of Ironworks of Misery. Oh, we have a rock in there now. I wonder if that rock is next to the window for more interesting loopage at the window. We also have some grass and stuff, making it look more lively, more interesting. I like it. This is definitely the top of Cold Tower. Cold Tower looks way different now with this, but the reason I think this is Cold Tower is because we see the stairway and the blocked doorway. And those are the two key features of the Cold Tower. And we got the, tarp there. So yeah, this is really cool. So that means there is going to be breakable walls on the Macmillan estate maps now. I wonder if the Ironworks of Misery will have the breakable wall. And also, Cold Tower definitely is going to have at least one breakable wall. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think of the new and improved Macmillan estate. Well, that covers everything in this developer update that we see right here. Let me know what you guys think of all these changes in the comments below. Agree, disagree, like, dislike, anything you want to say. And remember to like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe for more Dead by Daylight content. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, good luck out there in the fog, and see you next time.